finally ready to start the tanker itself.
They didn't say this is empty, right?
This your rolls, huh?
This is it. I want you to tear everything out of this car and make it perfect.
Man, we got some work ahead of us.
It's a little more of a job than we anticipated, but ain't nothing we can't handle. Classic look, new style.
We got one other thing to show you.
Whoa, look at that!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Man, we got lots to do on that tanker, man. Got a lot more to go. I wish John would come in so we could talk about it.
You rang?
Man, just to get a buzzer back there. A John buzzer.
All right, what do we got to do?
Man, we got a lot of work done on the semi so far. We got all the air suspension on there, you know, the independent front suspension, big 4-link in the back, the control arms, we got the shocks, got all that handled. We dropped the engine in the truck, got the engine mounted. We had to cut the firewall, make it fit, rebuild the firewall. Got the stacks on it, it's all stacked up.
Nice. I saw it sit in the shop the other day. That thing's looking mean.
Yes. You know, we finished the steering, got it off, got it powder coated, painted engine. But we still got a long way to go.
All right, what we got?
The console needs to be built, so we're gonna need some material for that.
New carpet, headliner, seats, fresh it all up.
Yeah,
do everything to it.
Let me know what materials you want, the colors. I get that all ordered out.
All right.
You know, the front bumper, we got to get that all mocked up, so we're going to need some steel for that. The truck's looking good. We still got a big job out there on that tanker, right?
Yeah.
You know, the old air brakes, the old springs in it, definitely not going to work. We're going to cut all that out, start with a brand new 10,000-pound trailer axle with electric brakes on it. So anybody can get in that truck and drive it and not have to worry about sliding the truck sideways, right? Brand new 4-link, huge 4-link, big bag, so it'll handle good, ride good.
And a lot of airline coming for that.
Man, there's a ton of airline.
That thing with big stacks laid out on air, just
Big
look,
wheels.
everything about it.
Man, they're going to be blown away.
It's going to represent their company, our company. They'll look good
Yeah,
riding in the parades.
You ready to get it? I'm ready.
I've been ready.
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
All right.
All right, man. I'm going to get it. Oh, yeah.
How many times have we do that?
I think this is the oldest tool in the shop. It looked like this when I was a kid. You know, after all the custom parts we made for this tanker, we can't just be having that factory bumper. This is the bumper that came on the tanker. It just takes away from the whole design of the whole truck. So I had Jesse burn me some plate, 12-inch by 7 foot, and we're gonna roll it just a little bit to give that nice curvature to the front of the truck. Man, I think we're good with that. What we'll do is transfer this onto a plate, and that'll be the bottom of it. So that's gonna hold everything nice and straight. Plasma? It takes a very steady hit. You want me to show you a little trick? See that right there? Yeah. Drag your hand now. That's super slick. The piece we rolled is not perfectly consistent. So we just cut one side, flip the perfect template.
Ta-da! There you have it. Here's our nice radius. It's the same on both sides. Still got everything ground down, cleaned up. It's gonna be a nice, clean surface well tube. Okay, so you can see the piece I just got done cutting and cleaning. Added it to the piece that Bill and I rolled. You can kind of start to see already it's starting to shape up like a front bumper.
That's pretty good. We're gonna make that work. One of the last steps for the front bumper is capping the top. I want it to fit the curvature of the body and around the grill, so it looks like it was made that way. And right now I'm just making the template out of chipboard so we can transfer it over to our 3/16 thick metal. All right, we have to fine tune it once it's metal, you know what I mean?
Before we cut our 3/16 top plate for the bumper, we're gonna go ahead and make a template out of sheet metal. It's more rigid. It's gonna give us a better placement for exact marks we need to cut so we can get corner to corner and get it tight in those fenders.
Let's go this way a little bit. It's a lot easier to modify the 20 gauge. There's a perfect template out of the 20 gauge, so now I'm going to trace it out on the 3/16, so we only have to do that one time. About to do a little test fit, which we already did with the templates. We know it's going to fit, so we know it's going to look good, so we're about to tack this piece in. It's fitting the body perfectly. We've got that perfect 1/4 inch gap all the way around. Our next step is chop the sides, cap them in, do the final welding, sanding, ready to paint.
Good job, buddy. Gold star of the week. Come on in a little bit, right there.
Ooh! Hey, it ain't quite as heavy as a 40-foot, but it's got some weight to it. You know, while we're finishing the cab, we're finally ready to start the biggest part of this project, the tanker itself. Man, trying to get this big old thing in there, for some reason, somebody thought it was a good idea to put a lift right outside that door. We're getting it in that shop one way or another.
We're gonna watch it roll over.
I hear you.
All right, make sure don't buckle this.
They're trying to
Buckle
scoot
the
it?
stand. What do we put it on the dolly?
Push it my way, too.
I am.
All right, hold up. Make sure you got an eye on this thing. If it starts going, get out the way.
Just let it fall.
Here we go. It's got to stay straight now. Hey, hold up.
How far we got?
Man, we got 6 inches until it hits that blue box on the top of the roof.
Is it in the hole?
I need to go back just a little bit.
Here you go.
Yeah, that's it.
Scare you?
Yeah, I'm nervous around you.
Got it. Good. Come my way.
Fix it, come down the ramp.
Nothing behind me? Might have a little slide going on.
It might take them.
There it goes. I was off the ramp.
Coming. Right there. That's it.
Yeah, don't remind you of the barbecue pit truck.
It does.
That was a close one. Always like the excitement around here.
It's not bad.
You know, before we can make the air suspension on this 51 tanker trailer with this heavy-duty 4-link setup, I asked Ryan to tear out all the old suspension first.
We just got the rear end cut out of the trailer. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna get all these brackets off the frame. Oh, yes, it keeps right off. Just get it ready to start building my hangers and doing some suspension work. Hey, they did say this is empty, right? Damn, that's gonna be torqued off. That sucks. They put a lot of weld on that. I found a split where the frame cracked, and that's why they have all these scab plates here. So I'm just gonna take it completely out and start fresh. The scab plate is just used to join 2 pieces of metal together. So we decided to cut it out, put brand new rails in there. By doing that, it ensures 100% certainty that this thing is going to be perfectly sound whenever it gets on the road. So I'm using these plates to just keep this frame rail straight with this rail. That way when I weld it and grind it, it just looks like one solid piece. Got my rails tacked in, and now I'm just gonna go cut my cross members, throw them in there, put a little weld on them, and go grab that axle out there. So as old rusty rails are out of the picture, it looked like crap, and it's not really in our best judgment to let something like that leave. When it comes to doing patchwork, it's way better to take the time and do it right and ensure ourselves that's not gonna come back and we're not gonna tell them.
We're ready to build the air suspension on this 53 tanker trailer, starting with the heavy-duty links.
All right, so we got our 4-link brackets made up. We'll get some good hard measurements. Get some tabs tacked onto the rear end. As of right now, it looks pretty good. We're 4.5. I'll be able to replicate the ones for the other side. Now that we got it to this point, all we gotta do is add some tacks and then we'll transfer it to the truck. Throw that there for right now. Getting jiggy with it. I like to put this washer on the inside there before I put my Heim on. That way, after it gets painted or powder coated, it still fits in there without having to wedge it in there and chip all your powder coat off. I don't even remember where I learned that at. That's where I need to be.
Fred.
Bill, pleasure meeting you.
Hey, nice to meet you. This your Rolls, huh?
This is it, 1964 Rolls Royce.
Man, it's a beautiful car. I mean, the body style is just iconic. I mean, when you see that come around the corner, you know, hey, that's a Rolls. So why a 64 Rolls?
Well, I owned a 64 Rolls Royce before, had to sell it to keep my business going, and I always promised myself when I made it, I'm going to buy another 64, and there's only one guy I wanted to do the job, and that's you.
Man, I appreciate that. You know, you can see a couple little issues with it. You know, is that what you come in for, is just paint?
Ground up restoration. I want you to tear everything out of this car and make it perfect.
So, Fred, you want us to take this handmade car and even make it a little more handmade?
It'll be Bill handmade car.
All right.
I know you can make this drive and run like a new Rolls.
We built a lot of vehicles over the years, but this is the first time we've ever built a Rolls. You know, these things were classy and fast for the times, with a 6-liter V8 giving it 220 horsepower. Any Rolls is a hand-built car, but when it comes to totally tearing it apart, we're going to have to hand make a lot of parts to make this project work. You know, one of the first to have you riding on the air, to have it comfortable, you know, like a new one.
Yes.
It's not going to sit all the way down on the ground. It would just take away from this iconic body style. You know, the wheels and tires, you have to pick the right one for this car.
I'm leaving all of that up to you.
You know, I see a couple things concerning, you know, body work popping up on a couple spots. Probably need to blast it and really see what we're working with.
There's no question that you're going to have to do body work on it.
You know, just looking at this car, it's a 1964, and it's definitely showing its age. You know, the body work's popping up. You can tell it's going to need a lot of metal work. What are you thinking as far as paint colors?
I like that new Porsche blue where the silver is.
So you want a two-tone?
I want a two-tone. The two-tone's important on this car because Rolls-Royce always was two-tone back in those days. They made a few all-white ones, but the two-tone made the body style stand out.
What you got under the hood? What you working with under there?
Well, I think it's still the stock 64 Rolls motor.
Oh, man. It's a little rough under here. Fred, you got a boat?
No.
We got a boat anchor. You know, putting a big rumbling engine in here definitely isn't the way to go. It would take away from this iconic car.
I'm going to leave the motor up to you, Bill. You prove what you think is best for me to be
definitely in with some new interior on something like this is really important. So what you got going on in here? Man, right-hand drive, huh?
Got to switch that over immediately.
Left-hand drive. It looks like the dash is, you know, mirrored, so I don't think it'd be much trouble to be able to do that.
You know, what's iconic about a Rolls is the woodwork in it. And you see the seat back wood trays. That was the thing to have.
It looks like the wood's in good shape, but as far as like the rest of it, I don't think there's no saving it. Right?
I agree with you.
You know, the interior is like half of this job. It's a big car with a lot of interior, and a lot of details are going to have to go in this. I mean, you always compare to a Rolls interior. This is actually a Rolls interior.
And a Rolls is a Rolls is a Rolls.
Yeah. Everything else in here, 100% brand new. You know, new seats, carpet, door panels. Get rid of the rag top. Maybe even putting the new Starry Light headliner in for the new Rolls.
That'd be great.
Basically have that new Rolls feel in this 64.
That's why I'm here. I've built a lot of cars in my life. I want this one to be the masterpiece.
Man, we'll definitely get you hooked up with that.
Can't wait to sit in the back seat of this car and have somebody cruise me along.
There you go. Well, let's go make it official.
Okay.
You know, I can totally relate to having to sell a vehicle to make payroll or buy that next part of your business, whatever the case may be. I've been in that same boat, but Fred's new rolls, he ain't getting rid of that. He made it. Of course, I say this quite a bit, but this is a big challenge. We don't know what's underneath all that paint and bodywork that's there. We're going to take it apart and blast it. Surprise, we'll see what comes in. But one of the biggest challenges is in the interior. Making this car look like and feel like, smell like a brand new Rolls, that's coming with it on that. Rolls has always been setting the standards for the rest of the car industry. It's always been one-off, one at a time, hand-built parts and pieces. It's made with pride and just made with that passion. That's exactly what we're going to do here. Hand make every part and piece with pride also.
What, are you waiting for some of that fancy mustard or what?
Right. Looking to see if I see anything good in here.
Looks pretty rough.
Man, we got some work ahead of us. Look at 2022.
Classic look, new style.
We're going to touch on every point of this car. We got a little bit of wood in the interior.
Yeah.
Everything else you're going to get.
I got some parts.
Yeah, a lot of parts to be looking at. Seats, door panels, dash, carpet, headliner. We're going to weld up the rag top. Everything.
And we're going to add the new technology in it too?
Absolutely. Anything that's cool, we want to put in here. It's right-hand drive just because that's the car he found. But he does want a left-hand drive.
Well, if I own this car, I wouldn't be driving. I'd be sitting right here.
Right.
This is where I'd be sitting back, enjoying a nice cocktail being driven around.
Well, he wants to look at the guy driving on the left-hand side. Finding the right wheels and tires.
The vintage, but the newer?
Absolutely. This isn't just something you call up the local parts house and tell them to deliver it.
Well, I'm going to have to try and get some contacts over the seas and see what we can find on that.
I got faith in you.
So does my mom. As far as the suspension goes, are we air riding down to the ground? What are you going to do to this?
No, we're not trying to get it all the way on the ground or anything like that. It will have some adjustability, but the main thing is ride quality. You want it to ride on a silver cloud, right?
Yeah. And then as far as the paint goes, are you doing a two-tone or are you going to say single?
Man, I think we'll have to do two-tone in this. This body style, it's made.
From factory. Do we need to find somebody that maybe come in and take care of that for us?
Man, for sure. Really want the best of the best in here. Under the hood, we don't want something really loud and obnoxious.
So we're staying away from the superchargers.
Not for this project. He ain't trying to burn the tires off. He wants something quiet, but still has a lot of power.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of power for this big boat.
Most definitely. We're about to see how good the new parts guy is on this one.
Well, I wasn't born when this was made, so we're definitely going to have to see what's out there. So I'll get with John. We'll put a game plan together. I'll find what I can find, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good, man. I'm ready to get at it.
Let's do it. I'll call you, driver.
No matter how classy this Rolls once was, most of that class was from long ago. So we need to tear it all down before we can build it back up again. From my experience, the more handmade a vehicle is, the way more work it is to tear it down.
Guess what? I am going to touch everything, so... Guess first thing is we'll figure out how this seat comes out. Well, they're hand-built, so who knows how the hands built them. Stuck over here. Bolt right there, and I can't get stuck. I ain't even got the first piece off this dang thing yet. I was excited, but now I hate it. Guess what? The trunk smells just as bad as the inside of the car. Still no room for activities. All the trim of the car is made of wood, and it's neat to look back and see all the effort that went into these things. This window trim is one solid piece of wood. This is probably one of the most impressive pieces that I've seen in the car so far. We may need that for later purposes. Don't let there be anything alive in here. We'll be good. Kid gloves still need to be used somewhat. We don't want to just go tearing into it and tear everything apart. I want to make sure I get this thing nice and safe so they can get the cutting on it.
so John pulled all the interior out of this car. And I've been summoned to separate it, tear it down the rest of the way. So that's what we're gonna do. Dude, this is gonna take a year. And technology's come a long way. That emergency it yanks on there and puts tension on this, and then it pulls that this way, and that arm goes that way, and that arm goes that way. I'm serious, I'm not making that up. Pretty cool standing underneath these old cars and seeing how far we've come. So cool that we're gonna do away with it completely and never look at it ever again. It's cool, but start fresh, clean slate, and make our own stuff and see if maybe we might be able to engineer something that's as cool as this. This big old grill, the emblem, you see all that, you just know you're in the money. Well, not this one. I mean, this one's pretty janky, but we're gonna make it nice again. Look at that. Been on there for 97 years.
Now that we have the body off the frame, we're going to send it out to Media Blast. Now it's time to find out exactly how much work we got in front of us. At the same time, Ryan's finishing up the suspension on the 51 tanker. John's going to get
the center console. We've got to have room for our shifter. We'll make a boot for that. We've got an air ride control for the truck. A couple of cup holders because got to have someplace to put your drink when you're riding around. So what I did is I just put a stop in here so I can set this in the truck and I don't have to worry about these things popping up, and it'll keep the same height so that when the console is done, these will still fit in there. Basically, just going to take these things, carry them over to the truck, start placing it around, figure out how we're going to get it all put together. So just make me a template of the floor here. Once I get the template of the floor, I can start laying out the pieces for the console. Once I got those laid out, I'll have the profile for the side of the console, and I can start with that profile and build from there. Now that I got my chipboard template all lined out where it needs to be, transfer it over to this 1/4 inch, turn this into a router template. We'll take that router template, make a couple of pieces, and we'll have most of a console to the router. That's that. All right, I'm gonna glue them together, nail them up. Now a little bit of mud work on this, it'll almost be ready to wrap. Center console for the tanker is all done and ready to go. So next step, get it wrapped, get it in the truck, and kick it out the door.
Now that we have the 4-link on the tanker, Jesse's going to burn out some plates so Ryan can get going on the lower back brackets.
Tack that here onto this lower back plate. We'll tack the other one the same way. On a project like this, obviously everything is going to be a one-off part. This isn't anything that we can just go grab off the shelf. This is basically like the coolest part of the job, is getting to just build something from nothing, seeing everything come to life and seeing everything work. It's just like a little puzzle, or like a big puzzle, actually. So I'm taking this square right here and just kind of running it down and just making sure everything lines up right. This one's kind of free-floated right now. I can move it around as I like. My spacing is never going to change. This one looks good. I got it pretty much exactly where I want it. I'll tack this one in and our bag brackets.
You know, back in the day, this tanker was made for hauling heavy loads, but now it's really just for show. Either way, this truck is still a heavy piece of equipment. With all this weight, we're going to use a lot bigger airbag than we normally use. So right now, Ryan's finishing up the heavy-duty upper bag mount.
So we're about to make our upper bag brackets now. We use these two 2x3s to brace the top of it, keep it very strong. And we'll take our D plates We'll get them here, we'll center them, we'll figure out our measurement and line it up and then chop off our end. That way everything flows at the bottom. So after we get done with that too, I can make me a plate and just give it some character, do something here or figure something out. Now dam's cooked now. Up here, we're gonna get it welded, tack it up into the trailer and weld it all the rest of the way out. You know, this could have been anything. This could have been very simple, or this could have been way more over the top. But this is the best part of fabricating, is I get to use my imagination and just come up with something what I would want in my own vehicle. Man, that looks cool.
The 64 Rolls is back from the media blast, and just as I suspected, it's bad. It's real bad. Because I had a feeling it was going to be this bad, I called in an old friend, a fabricator with skills to rebuild a Rolls Royce, my buddy Brandon Cisco.
Hey, Bill.
Man, Cisco, how you doing, man?
Good.
My son, Boston.
Nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. And that's the helper you're telling me about?
Yeah, that's why I started to bring him with me.
You got him qualified?
He's certified. He's been doing this since he was like 5 years old, so.
All right.
He's good.
All right. You like sheet metal work?
Yep.
Well, good, because there's a lot to do on here, right?
Yeah, it looks like it's been sitting in pasture for a long time.
You know, this car was bought out of Beverly Hills. So you were thinking, you know, we were going to get a pristine Rolls Royce and just modify it. Dude, we need a mess right now.
It's more like Beverly Hillbillies.
Right. You know, one good thing, we're not worried about factory body mounts under here, because even those are damaged. So we're going to build a full chassis for this, so it doesn't necessarily have to go back with replicating the factory body mounts or anything. So I need your guys' help on this.
A little more of a job than we anticipated, but ain't nothing we can't handle.
I think that's every job we take in.
Everyone.
Overly exaggerated, under anticipated. But I know you guys can handle it, man. I know I got the right team on the job.
Come on, man.
All right, man. Let's see what you got.
Looks like some of the pasture's still in it.
All right, so we got that piece off now, and just like I thought, there's a third layer we didn't see before. So to have 2 pieces to repair, we have 3 pieces. I've come to realize that rust repair is just an ongoing process until you get down to the good metal, and sometimes that good metal isn't there, so you have to replace the whole part. Well, this side looks even worse than that side. You can actually count the layers like tree rings in here of all the repairs, as each layer would rotten through. Hey, come over here, check this out. Those are original drain holes. If you push this back, you can see that's an original drain plug. They got covered over with somebody's repair. Nobody ever cleaned it. Let's keep going. Back in the day, these cars were hand-built by some of the best craftsmen in the business. They'd be rolling in their graves now they saw how people were repairing their dream work. I'm literally pulling these panels off with my fingers. So whoever did the last repair on this used pop rivets, no welds, no nothing underneath. It's a very low-budget way of attaching a panel. I think we're both down to the original metal.
Yeah.
So now where the flanges are off of these main braces, see the edge of the flanges?
Yeah.
Cut straight through, and then cut up to the floor, about a ½ inch down from the floor.
All right.
It's embarrassing to a fabricator to see somebody go back over your work and just kind of cobble it up like this. All right, now I need a minute to evaluate what's next. Now I can see everything. All the layers have been taken off, so I can see where to start at the good metal, which with very little love still, but there is some. We've got some reference points of where the new rocker needs to be at the back of these flat couple patterns, and then keep this from happening again to the next guy that comes down the line 30 or 40 years from now to repair my work. He won't laugh at me like I did these guys.
the 64 Rolls-Royce is definitely what I call a ground-up build. And right now, we're at the basement. Cisco and his boy Boston are going to add back all that integrity into those rockers. It's a lot of work, and you probably won't notice it when it's done, but we can't do anything until it's done.
Yeah, look at it. Lining right up. So we got the new rocker panels fitted to the car. They fit the floorboards, they fit the inner floor bracing. We're pretty happy how they fit right now, so we're going to go ahead and get them into place, finish welding them up, and move on to the outside rockers. So working with my son's great. He's been out with me in the shop since he was 2-3 years old, because I never told my boys, any of them, to not play with any of my tools. I would show them how to turn it on, show them how to use it, show them the proper safety. I didn't even start doing what I do until I was 15, so he's got about a 15-year head start on me. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be like the next 15 years. Oh yeah, a lot better. 100 times better. It's pretty solid, but it's not welded to the floor yet. So we're going to hammer down the floor to match the new flat panel we just welded in. So as I tap it down, he's going to go ahead and throw a couple of welds on there, and I'll move down and I'll just keep hammering it down until he gets it flush all the way across the bottom of the floor. So now that we get this panel in, pretty happy with how much it's strengthened up the bottom of the car and how straight it looks now and how it fits real nice and tight. Door sill plates are savable, but we need to replace all of this outside rocker piece. So we have to cut all these spot welds out, get this old rusty chunk off of here. So using the air chisel to take the spot welds off causes a lot of waviness in the metal. You can't really hammer and dolly it with all the welds in the way, so I knock those off the grinder real quick. Then I'll go through my hammer and dolly and straighten up this edge to the proper shape that it needs to be at for the new panel to weld to it. Got some pretty big rust repair to do in this front corner. I don't even have a word to describe how bad some of this stuff looks. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this chunk out of here too and just fabricate a new front piece as well as a new back piece for this corner right here. That is all Mondo, so that's another person that prepared right over the top of somebody else's body color with steel. It's like a ham sandwich, it's really weird. So I will be also cutting this corner off now. Let's dig into this center pillar and see what it's like. So working on a project like this, you really can be overwhelmed by the entire project at once. You really have to focus on the structural part of it first. Get yourself a good base to start with.
When I was first getting into this business, I never thought we'd be building a custom Rolls-Royce. But here we are, in the early building foundation stages. There's many, many more stages to go and many stages after those stages. This build's going to be one of those to remember. But as one begins, another one is almost on the road. Ryan's finishing up those last bits on that 51 tanker.
Everything nice that we've done is being just taken away by all this crap that's left on here. We're not going to let it leave like that. So come up with a real simple plan, fast, easy. Take some 1x1 and run it down this whole section here. And then we can take some sheet metal and bend it, get a nice contour, and then we can rivet it in up here as well. And you'll never see any of this ever again. You'll just see two smooth, nice panels coming down, and it will just hide all this stuff here. Here comes the javelin. So I put this 1x1 up in there just so I can see where it's going to be. I made some marks so I can come in, grind it up, so I got a nice clean surface to weld to. All right, so we just got our metal rolled. You see we got our contour that we transfer all of our lines that we've made on this small template here to the bigger sheet. Once we have the brakes in, we can throw it up underneath the trailer and see what we got. All right, 45. Doing this sometimes, it does take a little bit longer. It does take a little bit more effort, but at the end of the day, when you step back and look at the finished product, it's always better to go the extra mile and take pride in your work. Thank you, sir. Now that we got our pieces made, all we got to do now is trim them to fit the trailer. So on the passenger side of the trailer, there's a bunch of hookups, other kind of stuff over there. So we're going to trim around all that stuff to where we can slide these things in there and have the nicest, cleanest look as possible. All right, so we got our panels in place. We want to make something that covers this void right here. Keep air from wanting to go in there, make these things want to shake. We'll just take our chipboard, throw it on up in there, and also kind of clean up all this back here that we don't want anybody to see. Yeah, that looks better. Just gonna transfer it to some metal. Bango, bango. I got a nice pair of hands. Using a straight edge makes it much easier. You have like the straightest line that possibly can get, and really no cleanup. I got it transferred, cut out, everything looks good. We'll take it over there and throw it up there. If it fits, it ships. Like a glove. Love it.
I never do anything the same twice, so I'm just always learning. That's the original undercoating on the original panel. I started off building model cars, actually, and I never built the model car that came in the box. We would get 3 or 4 kits, and I would just mix and match them all together. All right, we're good. Got into high school, got to thinking about starting to drive and things like that. My dad said, if you want something to drive when you turn 16, you're going to have to look now and get something and build it yourself. At the time, I'd never even changed a spark plug or nothing. I was just just doing model cars. So I had big dreams of this big giant step-side Chevy truck. The way I bought that was I got a lamb, a sheep, and I raised it and I sold it at the fair and made a pretty good penny on it. My dad said that some family members had a 76 Chevy step-side that needed a lot of work for $600, and I started working on it at 15 years old. I'm 47 now. I'm really pushing myself to become the best at everything I can.
Alright, so everything's done with the trailer. It's all painted, powder coated, and everything. It's time for assembly. Start off. I've learned how to work by myself over the years. That's why you always grab 2 nuts. Whoa, no. So now that the bags and the tank and everything is starting to come together, it's all mounted. But this will go into the tank and it'll give me a supply out to my valves. There's a little water separator to keep the water out of your bags and everything. And then you got your pressure switch on the other side, which tells the compressors when to turn off and turn on. And this will go to my Pack 80, which is also get mounted on here, along with our battery and breaker and everything else. Yeah. So now we got compressors and tank, we got bags. I can mount my valves now. And then once we get our valves mounted, then we can run some air lines.
And it's been all hands on deck on this truck and tanker, but we're almost there. Airlines, new frame covers, the stacks, getting this 12 valve Cummins running, and we're ready to give this one back.
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
How y'all doing?
Good to see you, man.
Bill called us and said our truck's ready. I'm the owner of the company.
She trusted us to bring the truck down and put, Bill and his team spin on it.
My butt's riding on the line.
A while back, Larry and Matt came down and dropped the truck off to us. The plan was to make it fit in with your fleet.
Absolutely. This is a special one, though, because we're going to take it out into the communities where we operate and take it in parades. The other trucks are working trucks. They haul our fuel, but this one's going to be a showcase.
Well, I know you're going to like what we did. So you guys ready to check it out?
Yes,
ready.
sir.
Let's
Absolutely.
Go.
Oh, my
gosh.
That is so awesome.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Look at the wheels.
That's awesome.
The stacks, Larry.
What do you think, Larry?
It's gorgeous.
I'm dumbfounded, man.
Can we get in it?
Lynn's reaction was priceless.
She loved it, which was a good relief for us.
Her family is going to be shocked when they actually all see it together.
It's gorgeous.
She just knocked it out of the park.
Beautiful.
I think they're liking it.
The colors.
One of the first things you see when you're walking to it is the front bumper. We had to get rid of that old channel that was on there.
Bill had a great idea about making it contour to the fenders and the grill, stretching it out.
Yeah, it looks like it was meant to be there.
That just sets the attitude for the
Absolutely.
truck, right? Another thing that we did right off the bat is just rip out all the old suspension. We built independent front suspension, newer end, new 4-link rear suspension.
Wow.
With
Turn this thing easy.
and you have the hydraulic brakes now too, so anybody can hit the brake pedal and glide to a stop.
I think I heard you just say, I'm going to be able to drive it and feel safe.
That's it.
Awesome.
I know Larry's going to be really excited about this.
The big reveal, Larry. Oh, gorgeous.
Look at that, Larry.
Turbocharged 12 valve Cummins.
Yeah.
Automatic transmission. No more flathead in there.
Yeah.
How much horsepower did it have?
150 horse.
And this?
500 horsepower or something like that. We had to rebuild the firewall around that big old engine, and then went with the red paint on the Cummins.
She's got some AC lines going there too, buddy.
Yeah, we got you hooked up with that too, for sure. Of course, we had to add you some big old stacks out the back too.
I noticed them right when I walked in, the stove tops.
It ought to fit right in the yard now, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we might have to put this thing to work.
One other thing, I got to have you riding good on the inside too.
Oh,
gorgeous.
I'm styling now, buddy.
Yeah, man. And power steering too.
A normal steering wheel.
Yeah.
New gauges.
Everything's 100% new in it. New column, new shifter, sprayed it, body color. It just looks amazing. You know, we've done a ton of work to this thing. We didn't just stop at the truck. We had to come on with it with the trailer too. As you're walking by, you see the new paneling that we have all underneath here. It's had its share of fixes from here and there. What we did is cladded the whole bottoms. You know, it had a big axle with a big spring pack and air brakes on it. We ripped all that out and put a 10,000-pound trailer axle with electric brakes, so you can drive it like a normal truck and trailer. You know, of course, we had to put some new wheels and tires on it to look cool. And not only that, a big 4-link rear suspension with the big airbags, so it's not going to beat you to death.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It looks so good. Your team did a wonderful job. The LED lighting on the trailer, everything looks great. We got one other thing to show you.
What's
is
that?
it? You want to hit it? All right. You're going to like this one.
Wow.
Oh, listen to that.
You know, it's a first for us. We've never bagged a tanker truck and trailer before, right? I don't think I've ever seen it before. From her late husband starting the company to where it is now, and from seeing the truck where it was to where it is now, I can really tell Lynn was excited about this.
Every time we showcase it, we're going to think of you all and this amazing transformation.
Such a big build like this, it takes everyone in the shop. I can't thank my team enough. We're going to get back to it. Thank you
so much.
Wow, look at that.
So cool.
A big job.
Yeah, we can't thank them enough. It was above and beyond what we expected. And we had a Wolf and Chief Sully.
All right, we're loose.
Adding the factory panoramic roof, gonna put this build even more over the top.
We're gonna make a roof sandwich.
Ow.
And that there is why I have black thumbs.
Building this piece on the 64 rolls is the hardest part with all the curves and contours in it.
There's no manual to this. You kind of just have to let the metal talk to you.
I love that. Wow, that thing looks great. I told you.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
What's happening, man?
How are you? Nice to meet you.
Hey, Carmen. Carmen, nice to meet you, Bill. All the way from New Jersey, huh? Man, that's a long drive. You've been in the driver's seat for a while.
A little over a day.
Yeah. It's a nice looking truck you got.
Thank you. I love it. I just picked up a brand new F-350. I've always loved these trucks. I've been driving 1-ton diesels since the 90s, but I have an idea. So I want you to turn this into a F-350 1-ton diesel Raptor.
Man, I love projects like this. I love cutting up brand new trucks.
I know. A lot of people think I'm nuts, but I want a diesel Power Stroke Raptor.
You can't buy one of those, can you?
Cannot buy one.
Right?
Can't even special order one.
You know, the Ford Raptor is just a cool looking truck that, you know, had a lot of design cues, the wide fenders that come directly from Baja Racing. You know, the F-350 towing capacity, diesel under the hood, just that heavy duty truck itself, combined with that Raptor look, you know I'm going to be a fan of that.
Can you do it?
Come on, man. Come on. You're in the right spot for that, for sure.
My whole life, I always had crazy, weird stuff. My first car was a Ford Bronco that me and my buddies put a Mustang motor in. Through the years, I just kept coming up with different ideas for different types of trucks. And this is the
things we'd have to do to it is change the whole front end. Brand new fenders on the front, grill, bumper, hood. We're going to do it.
You know, right?
And, you know, the steps, that's got to go. You got to have retractable steps, so you don't even see that.
It'll give it a nicer look.
Yeah, man, it's a good looking truck.
Thank you.
But we can definitely make it cooler.
Okay, tell me how.
You know, one of the big things that the F-350 has is that 6-foot bed. And, you know, a Raptor has that 5.5-foot bed. You know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but, you're driving down the road, shortening that wheelbase totally changes the look of the truck when it's passing you by. You go, oh wow, man, there's something really different about that truck versus all the other 350s on the road.
Exactly. Is it going to work?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to make it work. It just doesn't work. You got to make it work.
Okay. And as long as it drives nice on the road?
Absolutely.
Throw my family in it, take them to the beach?
Absolutely.
Drive on the beach?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, switch up suspension, give you a little bit more travel. We'll build a brand new parallel 4-link with coilovers on the back to match that front. You don't want it to just look good. You want it to be able to go off-road a little. That's just going to put it over the top. You know, maybe even a bed cage in the back with 2 spares in the back and just totally make it look, you know, that Baja
just in case you get 2 flats.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course, wheels and tires, big, wide fenders on the back also.
Like a Raptor. I want somebody to walk past the truck and be like, did Ford make that?
When customizing is done right, that's exactly what happens.
I want to fool people.
Exactly. Man, if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it.
I'll leave you the keys and fly back.
Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
You know, Carmen's F350 as is a lot of people's dream truck. Runs good, got plenty of power. He's just not happy enough with that. I totally get Carmen's dilemma, you know, needing that 1-ton truck for work, but loving that styling of a Raptor, that Baja look, just wanting something that nobody else has when you're driving down the road. That's the name of the game. You know, I can really understand why people like the Raptors, that off-road look that you're driving on-road. I mean, that's cool. You know, anybody can buy an F350. You know, anybody can buy a Raptor, but taking that idea of combining both of them, of course, I'm in. Let's make it happen.
Now I wonder what we're doing with this one, dude.
Yeah, no rusty bolts, no grease, grime, nothing. Come party.
Idea. He wants to turn his F350 into a Raptor.
They don't make that package?
No, you can't order that.
Really?
You can't order a heavy-duty Raptor. Only the half-ton. So we're basically turning this heavy-duty truck into a Baja truck.
That was one of my favorite builds was your Baja truck.
Yeah, that's fun.
That truck is so much fun.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So that's what we're going to do is just transform this into something Ford never made. So what we need to do is start off, of course, wheels and tires. We want that Baja style look, right? So we're going to have wide fenders in the front, wide bed sides in the back. You know, we're going to give it a little bit of lift, you know, bumpers front and back. You know, a Baja style bumper isn't going to be around for the F350.
Of course.
So we're going to have to take Baja style bumpers for F150 and then modify it to this truck.
It's definitely going to set it apart from all the 350s.
You know what else we need? You want the dual tires in the bed. So that's a signature Baja, right?
That's what you see, and you know that's what it is.
You know, you got to have the spare tire. And of course, lighting.
Whole front clip?
Whole entire
whole
front
back clip?
Yeah. If we're turning it into a Baja truck, that's something you got to have. And, you know, one of the things that really stand out on this is going from the 6-foot bed that's on here to the Raptor style, so in order to put that shorter bed on, we're going to have to shorten the wheelbase.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of work here and there, but that's it.
That's it.
Work, right? So what we'll do to shorten the wheelbase, we'll just build a 4-link on it with air suspension, so we can manipulate the wheelbase in the 4-link.
Yeah. And then just cut the rear of the frame horn off, and
we'll figure out bed mounts or whatever we got to do when the time comes. You know, it's just something he's not really going to be taking off-road a lot, but we will put some nice shocks on it in case he ever does want to, you know, jump the curb and go down the side of the freeway and, you know, hit some jumps along the way.
This sounds so familiar.
So basically, we're keeping the cab. It's like, that's it.
Yeah, cab, engine, and trans.
That's so cool, man.
It's great. You know, all in all, I mean, I love projects like this. Building something that nobody's seen before. People are going to be trying to order these. Like, go to the dealer and say, hey, I want that.
I seen this one on the highway. I know y'all got it.
This is going to be something we can get in, put our signature on it, and just roll out and show the world how we build cool cars and trucks. So y'all ready to get it? Let's do it, man. Let's do it. You know, this is a brand new truck, so we're gonna...
First thing is go ahead and start getting this bed off. Before I do that, I'm gonna have to grind all these bed bolts right here because they got a lot of build up from the bed liner in there. Now disconnect all the electrical. That's going through the bed floor to the tailgate right here. It should come right off. Let's go ahead and pull it off easy, straight back. Yep. Thank you, guys.
So we ordered a half-ton crew cab bed that's way shorter than the 350 short bed. All the mounting is totally different. It's gonna line up perfectly.
Put your hand between the cab.
You get the back center, Jamie?
Pretty good right there, huh?
You know, like any project, you have an idea in your head how it's going to go, right? I was thinking the bed was just going to bolt in place and we're going to chop the back of the frame off, shorten the wheelbase, but of course not. The bed floor is totally different from each other, so there's nothing specific bed mounts here and here. That's the first issue. Once the back of the frame's chopped off, we got the bed mounted, then we can get down to business and actually modify the bed size. I think we're on plan C already, and they ain't even got started. You know, having that vision is critical when you're turning an F-350 into a Raptor. You know, we always try to figure out what can go wrong before it happens. Like this crew cab F-150 bed, not fitting on this F-350. You know, but like anything, we figure out the problem, address it, get it handled, and get this bed on. And this time, we're going to start by making new bed mounts. So what we got here, we had Jesse burnish out some 1/8" plate. What I'm going to do is build a little channel that the bed will set flat on, and then we can weld right to the frame itself. We just got to do a little notchy. All we have to do now is go from the top, poke a hole right in it. We got a perfect spot to bolt the bed to the frame. Then once we pull the bed off, we can just round it, shape it, make it look perfect. It'll look like it came that way from the factory.
Drilling through the bed. Go ahead and put our bolts in there. All right, hit it with the impact. One more bump. All right. Once I get our bolts anchored in, I'll go ahead and tack the braces on the bed so I'll know that's the placement of them. Alright. So now we got the bed off. You can see the braces that Bill and I made. Go ahead and weld these out. That's going to be done.
You know, now we know where this bed's gonna sit, we can tear out all that suspension.
So, you know, obviously we're going with a shorter bed, so we're not gonna need this portion of the frame, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and chop this off. We'll be able to put our bumper back. You know, this hanging off, the backside truck's gonna be unproportional, so shorter bed, shorter frame, make quick work of it. Alright, that'll do.
Chop it on the float. 13 3/4. Okay. Alright. So the next step is building our 4-link, connecting the rear end to the frame itself. So it all tracks straight, rides good, handles good. We're going to go with the parallel 4-link. Still wants to be able to use this for work. It still wants it to look like a Baja truck, and you still want it to ride good. So with the 4-link, we're going to install big airbags in place of the leaf springs. You know, not to make it low, not to make it high, just for ride quality and to still be able to tow wherever he wants. This right here, see that seam right there? Is even with the outside of this 4-link. 6 3/4. Let's do it. last little part of our suspension is the lower 4-link bar. So we're just going to tack it in place on the axle itself, and that's going to locate where it's going to be on the frame. That looks good, man.
Definitely.
Nice big frame.
You know, really kind of starting to look like a short bed Raptor truck now. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
So our next step is just weld all that out. Let's get that done. And then we'll go on to the bag mounts themselves. Man, caught you working.
Oh, you know, trying to get this order filled out. Speaking of work, how's that Rolls Royce going?
You heard, right?
I heard and I seen.
Looks like somebody's been using it for target practice.
Right? Yeah, it looked good before sitting just out in the parking lot, then you took it and got stripped. And
it's overwhelming for sure.
Yeah.
Good thing we got somebody like Cisco and his son Boston can come in and help out. They're just cutting out patches on top of patches on top of patches.
Wow.
I mean, they're going to start making a brand new rocker from the front wheel well all the way to the back wheel well. So we're going to need some sheet metal. Not the regular 20 gauge, but the Galvanil.
the good stuff.
Yeah, we're going to hand-build a hand-built car.
Yeah, I think all of us is going to be busy on this one.
Absolutely.
Speaking of work, I got to get back to it.
Get it shipped out.
I'm going to do it.
Cisco's done making the rear part of the rockers. Now he's going to make the front part of the rockers.
So now we're going to start building our channels that's going to mimic the old rocker panels on here earlier. So I'll put new holes in this. We'll plug weld it right to the original panel, and it'll look like factory at that point. So the next step, now that I got this bent the right angle and it's the right length, I'm going to go with a bead roller. I'm going to do a little finisher edge on this thing. I got a nice little rolled edge. Finishes off that panel a lot nicer. Rolls up over the top instead of just being a sharp point sticking up. Those are ready to weld on. I'm super excited to be here and work with my son Boston on this. He's been super excited ever since the day I told him about it. I had to pull him out of school. So that was interesting to tell all the teachers, you know, and they didn't give him any homework or nothing to do. They said, I'm glad he's going. That's cool. So that's always a great experience.
It's cool. So we got them all welded done. Now it's part of the car. Ain't going nowhere.
So our new rocker will slide right over the top of that and come down and hook right to the bottom of our inner rocker that we built. I'm going to go ahead and start making the pattern for this center bar here. It's going to be kind of a weird shape. It's going to be flat. It's going to go back and be rounded all at the same time. You can get it close though and then hit it with a sander and finish it off. Just want to do that on any time you can. Get to the outside corner of something and weld it. Because if you weld the inside corner, you get a lot of buildup. If you want it to look crisp and clean, it's hard to get that inside edge ground down with a grinder to look smooth. So we got everything welded in place, and our door gaps are pretty far off. So I'm going to pry this over gently. I'm going to need you to grab the welder and tack this real quick. Ready? Okay. Now, our gap should be doable. That's doable. Now we can trim that up. We get a nice even gap that's going to be the same around the whole door for both these panels all the way down.
You know, when you're rebuilding a 60-year-old vehicle like the Rolls Royce, you know, the big thing is just bringing it back, making it stronger for the next 60 years or even 100. So right now, Cisco's rebuilding the rockers even better they were from the factory.
We're going to start building the outside skin of this rocker to make it look like a finished car again. Let's try it on the car. I think we're pretty darn close. It's hard to... Before I can put these rockers on, I've got to have these doors in the proper space. Every door gap is touching. So I got to wrap my mind around why it could be like that, what could have caused it, and how I can fix it. So what we're trying to do is get these body lines to line up. That's the belt line of the car. That's the center. So if I get a decent body line up all through there, if these doors aren't straight, then my rocker's be in the wrong spot. That's a straight line. That is not. So our 1/4 inch shorter door here compared to our longer door. So this one is turning lower and this one's turning higher. So there's no way around it. We're gonna have to either add some to this door or take some off of this door once I put my new rocker in place. I'm messing with the eyes, it's an illusion. These cars are all coach built, they're all built by hand, usually by a couple of guys at one time back in the day. So I'm gonna put my new rocker in place straight, with the body line straight, gapped at the top, and then we'll have to adjust these door gaps on the bottom with cutting and adding. All right, now we got it clamped in, fits good. I'll do this exact thing 3 more times.
You know, a few years back, I built my own Baja truck out of an old wrecked F-150, and I've had a lot of fun with it. Turning this 22 F-350 into a Raptor, you know, that means giving him that Baja look, but still being able to let him tow whatever he wants. I got my measurements of where the bags need to sit on the axle. Then I'm going to tack some spacers together so the bag is simulated at ride height. So I know the lower bag mount's perfectly centered under the upper bag mount. Everything's where it needs to be. All I need to do is make mounts from the lower bag mounts to the axle and from the upper bag mount up to the frame. Oh man, this is just the way to go. I mean, to get rid of the leaf springs. You can put whatever weight you want on it, and it's going to squat the truck. You just air it right up a little bit, and you're riding at the same ride height and still riding on air.
It's definitely got that nice aggressive look to it, slick kind of.
I want to replicate some little shock coupe kind of Baja style, so we'll connect it back to the frame so everything will be one piece and it'll look really cool. So when you're looking in that big old fender well, you'll see some nice tube work in it. Just going to give it that Baja style. Man, the tubular upper bag mount looks really, really good. Nice and strong. 1.5" schedule 80. It's not going anywhere. You know, a couple things left is I'm going to take our bag spacers out, bottom the rear end all the way out, and then we're going to build our shock mounts. We got our upper shock mount made, so all we're going to do is place our tabs on the rear end itself. Shock mounts are done. You know, we ain't doing all this just to ride around the streets in New Jersey. It's definitely made to do whatever punishment he's going to put it through. This is going to take it. The last part of the suspension is the Panhard bar itself. You know, we don't have any leaf springs anymore to keep the rear end from going side to side. So that's exactly what a Panhard bar does. It's a hard mount from the frame itself over to the axle. I like the way everything turned out. I mean, we got the bed mounted, frame cut off, 4-link done, shock mounts, bag mounts, super short wheelbase. That's a Raptor. Yeah, no doubt. Hey, good morning, Carmen. What's happening?
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Man, doing good, doing good. I heard you wanted to have a little talk this morning.
It was more of an ask than a talk about. Hopefully you can make some magic. I wasn't able to have a sunroof in the truck.
Right.
And my kid has a Platinum Series 1, and he has a sunroof.
It's super easy to put a sunroof in it. We can cut a hole and just drop a roof in it for you, no problem.
Yeah, but I want a real Ford panoramic sunroof.
Oh, you want the factory roof installed in your truck? Man, that's...
When you push the button, it works just like factory.
You know, that's a little more involved than just cutting a hole and dropping a sunroof in, for sure.
I want what I want. I really do.
Hey, you want what you want, right? It's labor intensive.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you so
man.
much.
Is there anything else?
If you really want me to say, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I'll talk to you later.
Man, you got some work to do, buddy. adding the panoramic roof to this 22 F350 Raptor is going to put this build even more over the top. You know, the thing about adding a roof like this, if you don't do it right, you're going to add a whole lot of headaches later. So I'm going to bring in the expert and get it done right that first time.
Once we get the old roof off, then we'll find out what we need to cut on the inner structure to put this panoramic roof on. So these are all the bolts that hold both sides of the roof. This is what keeps the roof dry and gives it its structural integrity. The hardest part really of this whole roof is saving this piece right here is where I just took out all the bolts at, because this overlaps everything. Yeah. Just slide it right off. And that's going to expose the whole seam where the roof lays over top. I'm all into custom stuff. Collision work pays the bills. Custom's where the fun's at. Since we got all the heads of the rimmer, let's start popping them all loose. Everything's loose. So we're ready for the torch now. We got a main front cap brace that runs right along this section. It's all glued, so we're going to heat it up a little bit and make it release. I think we're all loose. All right, we're loose. You got it? Roots off. All right, we got our new roof skin with the panoramic hole cut out in it. We're going to prep all of our edges now. We're going to get the whole perimeter sanded down, put the glue on the roof. We're going to make a roof sandwich. We're going to lay our panel bond down on all of our prep surfaces. Now we have 90 minutes to get this all glued and the roof set on here before this stuff starts to cure. Yep, so pretty much we're just going to drop it down. Then we can maneuver it around a little bit once it's down. So all we're going to do is start reversing the process. We're going to bolt down both sides, and then we'll start riveting the front and the back, and then we'll be done. All right, now all the bolts are in. We need to drill 6 holes and set 6 rivets, 3 down each back of the cap corner. A normal rivet, you would have to drill a hole like the 3 that I just put in. With this, it actually punches the hole and everything all in one shot.
Man, you got it, huh?
Yeah, we're done. Went really easy.
So this is to factory spec?
Yes. It has all the glue, all the rivets, just like they did from the factory.
That's exactly what we needed, man. I appreciate that. It looks real good. Now it's ready for paint.
Yeah, it is.
Shoot, no body work, nothing.
No body work. The only thing you need to do is run a little bead of seam sealer right down this little piece and then squirt it.
Man, yeah. You know, we've got the bed mounted. Now it's time for those new bed sides. We have the factory F150 bed, is super short, 5.5-foot bed. So we're gonna cut basically the perimeter all the way around, remove the factory bed side and replace it with the fiberglass. See the factory bed side and you see the mean, wide look. It's gonna look good. It's gonna look tough.
We're not going to use this, so my concern's not with this piece, it's with the inner frame. I just want to hold the structural integrity of the bedside cut as least I can, leave as much there, and I can trim it back as I need to.
Let's see. Man, it looks good, man. It looks good.
I'm ready to see it on the truck.
You alright? Well, shoot, let's spin it around, throw it on the truck, see what it looks like.
That's it. Okay, so now we got our bedsides on. Now we gotta connect this void right here. So what I'm basically gonna do is make a filler for all the way into here. But before I start, I gotta go ahead and cut this excess off right here so I can stretch my filler all the way over to the bedside. So when you're duplicating each side, it just makes a lot more sense to do everything in pairs. What I like to do is when I'm doing one side, I'll do the other side. And when I'm starting to put it together, I'll do the same thing. Finish one piece, just do the other piece. Okay, so now you can see I got my fender well in. Everything's tech screwed in. I really like the way this came out. I mean, I got it all up against my fiberglass. That's golden to me.
With the front rockers done on that 64 rolls, Cisco's going to move on to that toughest part to rebuild, that dog leg.
It's got a couple of compound curves. It curves outways and inways at the same time. So there's going to be a transition of this round flare coming in like this and disappearing, but also transitioning into a reverse curve of this rocker. In 16 and 18 gauge for the rockers, but for this complicated piece, got a lot of bends and turns. I'm going to switch up to 20 gauge. It's a little thinner, a little easier to work with, but since it's so small, it's going to be so curvy, it'll still be strong. So now what we're going to use is our planishing hammer, and it's giving it that curve of the shape of the top die or the bottom die right here. Sounds pretty violent, but it's not that bad. Wow, that actually worked out really well. So now I can go ahead and mark this door edge where I want it to be at now. There's the first part of our dog leg completed. So now these Clecos will hold this in place in placement of a screw or a sheet metal screw or something like that. It doesn't leave any burrs. So when you go to take them off, bring your hand over, you don't slice your hands up. But they'll hold this in place now. Well, I can go ahead and fabricate this last piece here. So I think I'm going to start with a piece of metal shaped about like this. So this is a perfect example of when you're doing custom work. There's no man put part A in slot B. It's just try it, make it work. If it doesn't fit, try it again. You always got to cut it big, work your way small, get you a bunch of little pieces cutting off every single time. Ow. And that there is why I have black thumbs. So we're pretty close right there. I built the radius into this panel now instead of building into this. So now I can trim this edge and butt it right up against that, and my panel will have a nice rounded edge. So sometimes when building these little pieces like this, you kind of just have to let the metal talk to you, let it tell you where it wants to be. You can kind of force it, but sometimes you'll be fighting something for 1/8 of an inch, and 99% of the time that 1/8 of an inch isn't going to matter on which panel you put it on. This whole rocker panel is just looking really good right now. I like it. The next thing we're going to do is build the inner rocker cap here, so we can call this rocker done.
Hardest part with all the curves and contours, and it takes years to build up your craft and have nobody notice what's been done.
So the skill level involved in building some of this stuff is learned by making a lot of mistakes. I've messed up a lot more things than most people have even built. A lot of self-schooling. There's been some training here and there. I've taken a couple of classes to learn a lot of the finite stuff, but for the most part, it's just trial and error and a lot of error. So you do things enough times, you learn little tricks here and there to help you on the next one, but you'll never finish learning.
When you're working on a job that requires as much work as the 64 rolls, you just try to avoid getting lost in all the things you have left to do. You just have to chip away one job at a time, day by day, and just appreciate those little milestones. Today is just finishing up that little dog leg. Then we're going to be moving on to that frame, suspension, engine, body, and that interior. And then all those little wins come one unforgettable masterpiece.
All right, looks good. Looks real good. Really happy how this turned out. We got structural on the inside, one more Swiss cheese.
This 22 F350 into a Raptor. We don't want to go too overboard. We still want that F350 rugged look. It's really been bugging me on this. I mean, the bed sides were for an F-150, the super small lights. I mean, everybody sees these. What this truck needs is the F350 taillights. I mean, we got to have that big Super Duty look with the Raptor bed. Chop it up! So we're going to modify this to accept the big heavy-duty taillight. That's right there.
Pretty much going to try to save the design right here, right?
Yeah, we're going to take this and scoot it down. We're trying to minimize as much cutting as possible, so we're just going to take sections out of this and save parts and pieces and try to make it fit around the 350 taillight.
I'm fascinated how we're going to put those new lights in here because nobody really has done that. And I mean, we always have to upgrade around here. Bigger truck, bigger taillights, it's going to look great. We're going to make it work.
Hell yeah. We'll do fiberglass work over it and then the final body work. Look, we're going to install a new front bumper.
So I'm going to go ahead and take off the old bumper brackets and make some new ones for this bumper. Is it your plan?
It's a sharp bit. Man, it fits good, it looks good.
Yeah.
But we got a problem.
What's that?
We got these big, wide front fenders on it, and this just isn't gonna work. We need to bring this out, make this look like it's not an afterthought, right? So let's get the bumper off. Let's split this right here.
Okay.
And then we got a nice spot to build off of.
That's gonna be weird too. That's where he's going. The same width right here as this.
Get the bumper all the way out here on the edge so it doesn't look like it's off of 3 different trucks, right? We want to make it look like it's one cohesive unit.
Got a little modification. Bumper stretched a little bit. Look, perfect. Now, off the powder coat.
Oh, my nose just popped.
Ready to switch off?
Yes.
I love working with Boston. I had a shop on my property when he was born, and my wife would bring him out to the shop. He would hang out with me, pick up every tool that was on the ground, to the point where he was welding at 5 years old. He could use my brakes. He could use the tubing bender. He built a bicycle at 7 years old. Like he does here, if I need to hold something, have him weld it. He was my third hand all the time, even as a little kid. He literally just turned 15 this last weekend. He comes home from school, he'd go out on the back porch, work on his own truck until dark, and he's hanging lights so he can keep working into the night, you know. He's like, Dad, I got all my wheel wells cut out, or I got my frame taken off, or I got my suspension, or I took the dash out. I'm just like, that was a running car earlier, and now you got it all torn apart. He's like, yeah, but I'm going to customize it. I'm going to build a new dash. I'm going to build a roll cage in it. I'm just like, okay, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait. It's me at 15 years old, except he's got 10 years experience before me. It's going to be pretty amazing to see what he can build and what he can become in the next 10 years.
Just saying you're going to turn a new F350 into a Raptor, it's a good first step in a build. But making it look like it came from the factory like that is a whole nother thing.
Just looking at this thing, it's starting to come together. You know, I'm starting to see the picture that Bill has is the 350 Raptor now.
We body worked and color matched all the parts that we installed on the bed. And added the tire rack.
No scratchy. Once we put this rack in, it's really going to give it that Baja look, that Baja feel. When we throw those pair of tires in there, it's definitely going to set it off. I love that.
All those final details added up Now it's time to give it back. Carmen, what's happening?
How are you?
How you doing, man?
Good.
I know meeting the East Coast Italian out here in an empty field might be a little sketchy.
Might be sketchy for you. I'll be fine.
Well, I got something for you, man.
I'm dying to see it.
Well, let's see it.
Let's see it.
Jamie!
Wow, that thing looks great.
I told you!
It's freaking cool.
You gotta like that.
Love it. I love the stands. I love the way it looks. It doesn't even look street legal. It's everything I was hoping for with the wide stance, the lift that's on it. I am more than happy.
Like it?
Love it. Love it. I didn't think it was going to look like that.
This is something. Long gone is that work truck, right?
Yeah.
We got it in the shop, got it all tore apart. We got the old running boards off. We got the retractable steps. We got new front suspension.
Wow.
You're not going to feel like you're driving a brick anymore.
This thing looks like the ultimate beach truck right now.
Yeah, man. We had to get rid of the factory fenders and put that wide Baja style on the front. Capped it off with the front bumper, and we had to stretch that and make it wider, too, to come out to those big, wide fenders.
That's amazing.
Yeah, when it's coming at you, man, it just looks mean.
Looks tough.
And you threw us for a loop on this, too. You couldn't get this truck with that big panoramic roof that you wanted.
I got a panoramic sunroof now?
Yeah, man. I got you hooked
You're
up.
the man. You're the man.
And to finish it off, man, we had to get the wheels and tires right.
It blows my mind. It looks right. It looks...
Yeah,
the way it should look.
Exactly. And those are 40s on there, too, man. That's just not a 37. That would look just puny on a truck like this. These wheels and tires just totally fit this truck and make it 100% complete. If you like all that, we got some more for you in the back.
Let's check it out. Wow. Super Duty Raptor.
I tell you what, that was a great call going from the short bed to a shorter bed. But it doesn't just bolt on here for sure. We had to shorten the wheelbase over a foot. And when you do that, everything had to be changed where it needed to be on that new bed. Had to build new shock mounts, airbag mounts. I mean, everything underneath the truck we had to redo.
Amazing.
But I tell you what, after seeing the truck, that wheelbase looks absolutely perfect on the truck.
It's leaving me speechless a little bit. Like, I'm looking at everything and it's like, I can't believe, like, it even says F-350 Raptor. That's so cool. What really blows my mind is he got the Super Duty taillights to fit in a Raptor-style bed. And it looks like Ford did it.
Getting that 5.5-foot bed, putting those fiberglass fenders on it, making it that same width as the back, it looks like something you would go buy.
It looks factory.
Right?
It looks factory.
Yeah, it looks like Ford should make those, right?
They should.
Carmen keeps saying it just belongs, and I love hearing that. Everything is tied together. Nothing really sticks out like a sore thumb. That, to me, is the perfect customization. Of course, we had to put that chase rack in the back, so Jamie got down with that.
It just was missing that. You know, it's got every Raptor feel to it. You know,
looks cool.
It had to have this.
Needed them.
Yeah.
You gotta. That just finishes it off.
I've said it many, many times, but this isn't a one-man band. I mean, it takes everybody in the shop to do what they do. And one more time, of course, we made dreams into actual reality.
I love it. I can't wait to take this home, show the naysayers, shove it in, bring it back to life.
Man, this is original as it gets, right? And what we're going to do is make this a tow truck, show truck.
This thing is way overkill. I mean, you can pull a house with this thing.
72 CUDA.
This is badass. You know, every kid's dream car.
The interior needs some work.
There's a lot of parts and pieces that have to go together for this puzzle to work out. So we're going to do a rear seat delete in this car.
Don't kill the CUDA.
And it's naturally this color.
It's naturally this color.
Oh my God.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
What's happening?
How you doing, Bill?
Richard, nice to meet you. Man, it's a cool looking car, man.
I appreciate it. 72 CUDA.
Man, you got the classic muscle car. This is badass. You know, every kid's dream car.
Oh, it was mine. Right? It was mine. Always liked them ever since I was little. My favorite Hot Wheels car. This is kind of something that you always dream about. Being able to get the car that you loved as a kid and build it up and make it as cool or badass as you want it.
How long you had this?
I've had it for about 6 months.
It's a cool looking car, man. I love the stance of it. I love the black, of course. You know, of course, it can always be a little lower, but that's just me. But,
I understand.
But, I mean, you had it for about 6 months. You're riding around, so it runs good, drives good. Just what's the issue?
Well, the interior needs some work. It's pretty stock, and not much of it works. It needs to be updated. Driving around on it, the interior, it kind of makes me feel like I've had the car since 1972.
So your only issue with this is just mainly interior?
For now, yes.
Shoot, let's check it out.
All right.
You know, I definitely see what you're talking about. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a good looking car. I mean, it's in really, really good shape.
Yeah.
But, you know, early 70s.
That's true.
Has a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, same with the door panels.
Yeah, the door panels too.
And definitely get rid of the plastic feel to it. And just give you some modern touches in it.
Maybe do it in leather or something. Maybe a little black and some suede. I want to upgrade the whole thing, but still keep a little bit of the old school muscle car feel.
Oh man, most definitely. I totally agree with that. Looking in this car, you see just plastic everywhere. It does have some style to it, but for as cool as this car looks, it could be way, way, way better. So what's bothering you on the interior?
Really, the interior here is not enough bucket in the seat.
They're sliding around a little bit.
A little bit.
And I wouldn't replace these buckets, just maybe reshape them a little bit, change the foam. Still have that flow to it, but just a little more ergonomic, more user-friendly, and a lot of style.
And the console, you know, you can't get your elbow on that. It's worthless for an armrest. And this whole plastic thing here, shading over the shifter, I know it's a classic CUDA thing, but I'm not...
Give it some style, you know, some little more modern style to it, but still have that muscle car feel to it. You know, it's real cool when a person gets to a point in their life they can afford their dream car, go back and actually purchase it, drive your dream around, and come to a custom shop and really make that dream just expand and really come true. Well, if you're ready, man, let's go do some paperwork. Make it official. This car right now is really, really cool. I mean, it's a good looking car, but in this world, there's always room for improvements. You know, to a custom car guy, once you drive around in something like this, once you get used to it, you're always thinking in the back of your head, hey, it'd be real cool to do this. Or man, it would be really cool to have this. We all get it around here. You want something new. You want something improved. You want something that nobody else has. When you're driving around in your custom car, which just makes total sense. If you're a car guy, that's one of the first things you're going to change. You want that the coolest. So we're going to start with the interior of this CUDA. When it comes to an old muscle car, making it cool and adding to the style, that takes a little more thought, a little more engineering, a little more everything to make a car like this stand out and make it even cooler. Johnny?
Trying to look at this really nice car, see what's going on.
This is what you think of when you think of old school muscle cars.
Yes.
That's it.
72 CUDA.
Yeah, man, this thing's cool.
It's had a pretty nice restoration done.
But, you know,
it's stock.
Custom car guys, you don't really like stock.
No, it doesn't matter how clean and nice the stock is, it's still stock.
Exactly. That's why you brought it here.
I'm going to make it cool, huh?
To make this cool. these seats go with this car, go with this style of car.
Right.
I think retaining these buckets in the front would be the way to go.
Yeah, bucket seats are iconic in these old.
Same with the console. Cuda's got to have the buckets with the consoles, but reimagine this, man. Make it look modern.
Okay, come up with something really cool in here, shape it out, add into it, and just work it all up into something new.
Same with the dash.
Okay.
You know, this just looks like just a piece of plastic.
We'll do something on the doors to tie it into the dash and work our way across, down and in, maybe even all the way into the rear corner, so everything will tie together and flow and have some really cool lines.
Exactly. And you know, Johnny, no good interior is done without some audio. Gotta have it.
All right, so basically we're just gonna take the inside of this car and completely reimagine it and just give it a whole makeover and make everything current, new, neat.
But still have that muscle car feel.
I like it. I think it's gonna be cool, man. This is a badass car. All right, well, I know what to do.
I know you do.
All right. This guy wants something that's more modern and up to date in his car, so we have to get all of this out and start all the way over from new because we don't do restorations around here. Take a little bit of time to get it all apart, but it's always worth it in the end. Easy. Don't kill the Cuda. Don't kill the Cuda. Takes a whole toolbox to take this thing apart. These older cars are kind of more tricky to get apart because they're just more solidly built, whereas newer cars, pop a panel off a couple screws and you can get just about anything off of a new car. That's done and out of the way, so a few more things and we'll be ready to start building. Once we have our idea locked in on paper, when you have to come inside the car and start putting that idea into real world action. So I've got this board cut here just so I can get a straight line across the dash. It gives me an idea of depth and where I'm at with parts and pieces in here. So basically it's just time to sit in here, take the picture from my head, build all the pieces. There's a lot of parts and pieces that have to go together for this puzzle to work out. So just take some time, sit in here, build it out in my head, figure out where it's at and what I need, and go from there. So, come out. Got an idea? It's time to make it happen. This next step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a piece of chipboard and start working out the profile of the dash, give me an idea of my depth and where everything's gonna need to lay out. So let's start getting something roughed in and finish working out our ideas. So I think that's gonna be the profile we're gonna work with. That's what we need. One of the important things you want to think about when you're designing a dash or a console or anything like that in a car, any car for that matter, muscle car, new car, old car, doesn't matter. Any of that you have to take into consideration. Accessibility, usability, putting things where you can reach them and don't have to reach way over. You want to keep it functional. You get things too out of whack and it makes it very difficult to drive.
That 72 Cuda is just an iconic muscle car. The trick on this interior is to do a full custom build while also keeping some of that classic style. That's all right. It's the last of the ribs. We'll start laying it out, get the structure put together, and we'll start making all the fun bits. You know, there's a lot of things that you can appreciate about muscle cars. The lines, the stance, the sound, you know, pure power of them. I mean, personally, what brought me into this industry was mini trucks. I'll be a mini trucker at heart, but I can still appreciate on the same token the work and the time, the effort that goes in to building a really nice muscle car, a really nice hot rod. All right, it's starting to take shape. This is just going to be our base. We'll skin this. This will give us our base to work off of. Then we can add our cluster,
center console, any trim or anything we want, along with our AC vents, defrost vents, all that can be added in right on top of this. So, like I said, we're just working to get the main structure in here. Once we have that, then we can dress it up. Case in point, the Cuda. It wouldn't be the first thing I'd pick to build. Still, it's here. I'm gonna put my heart and soul into building this car because this is the passion that the customer has, is for this car. So, just adapt your passions with their passions and make it all work together. I see this big old brand new wrecker with this old wrecker on the back. Hey Bill, how you doing, man? How are you, bud? I'm doing all right, man. What you got going on here? 1952 Chevrolet wrecker. Yeah? 70 years old. It's time to bring her back to life. Where'd you come up with this at? Found this one in Missouri. Been sitting for the 3 years in front of my business. People really stopping by and taking pictures and looking at it. So I decided it's time to bring her to life and make her a little shinier, a little prettier, and more drivable. Right. Do you know any history on the truck? The truck was basically built as a wrecker new from the Ernest Holmes factory. And it's basically still all original the way it went off the factory floor, except for a little extra rust. I came to Extensive and brought my 52 GMC tow truck for Bill and the guys to do a throwdown job on a tow truck show truck. I picked the tow truck because I own a tow company and I have 3 locations and a lot of brand new trucks possible and fit it into our business. So you want to take this antique and just transform it into something cool to look at it? Yes, sir. I want to drive it anywhere and everywhere. Starts and runs, motor starts and runs, you can drive it. You're kidding me. No, sir. I wouldn't expect this car to run. Starts and runs. But it doesn't start and run the way I want it to. So Terry, what do you see in there? Are you wanting to keep the patina look and just make it run good, or? No, patina's cool, but I want this thing flashy. I want it shining. I want to polish it, keep it clean, and just really enjoy it. You want a new truck? Yes. And suspension, put it on the ground. I want it to be down low on the ground. That's what we do best, man, is just rip out all the old suspension and just start fresh with new clean frame rails, and we'll just build everything. Add air suspension to it so you get a nice ride quality. Big 4-link in the back, so we can put as much power as we want to under the hood and it'll haul this big heavy truck. When you leave the car show, you always got to do a burnout. That's right. You got to have some horsepower. We'll leave 4 black marks behind this sucker. Hot rod 6-cylinder. Man, straight 6, but I don't know about the hot rod. Probably was 70 years ago, but definitely not what we need. No. You got any idea? Do you want gas, diesel, or gas? Yeah, for sure, man. So, taking a late model LT, putting down in here would be the way to go. That way it's plenty of power, reliable, and it looks real good when you pop the hood, too. I don't want to see any of this when I open the hood. No. 100% brand new. Good deal. Man, this is original as it gets, right? Yes, sir. I mean, straight 52. I mean, even, what is... That is reflectors. They used as flares back in the 50s to keep cars from hitting them when they were on the side of the road hooking up a vehicle. Wow. There ain't much salvageable in here. Rip everything 100% out. Sounds good. Make lots of room for a big guy. Talking about a throwback in time, looking at this interior, but every single piece, every nut, every bolt, every screw, gotta go. It's gonna be 100% brand new. And we're gonna have our challenges to make someone of Terry's size fit in this old truck. Man. Looks like a mess. You don't care about any of this? No, not so much. I want it to still look like a wrecker and function to somewhat. It doesn't have to be exact look. So we can just rebuild the whole bed if we need to. Yes, sir. All right, now you keep the same scheme, but just bring it up to today's world. I know exactly what he wants. All in all, what we're gonna do is make this a tow truck, show truck. It's gonna be really, really cool. Fast, low, and tow.
Terry, man, stuff like this gets me excited, man. I love working on stuff like this. This is going to be a cool project.
I'm looking forward to it, Bill.
You know, projects like this are what I like. You know, this project's old. It's patina and everything. It's a cool truck just in its own state, pulled right out of the history books. The challenge of making something old, rusty like this to something that's pretty much a work of art that you can drive, you know, excites a fire in you, man. It makes those creative juices start flowing. You get some ideas and it gets you excited. Projects like this make you want to come to work and just build cool stuff. I love stuff like this. Every project has its set of challenges, but a project like this has many challenges. I mean, and just getting back and getting the overall feel of the project and making the proportions fit right, every aspect of it is a challenge all in itself.
What'd you get us into now?
Man, same thing I always get y'all into, right?
A lot of work.
Exactly. Basically, what I want to do is just get it in the shop and just pick the cab off the frame and build everything else.
Okay.
I mean, by the time you weld up all this, modify it, body work it, man, it's just not feasible to use anything here.
That was going to be my first question, is if we're keeping that.
Yeah, definitely not. Nah. I mean, Jamie can go shrimping with it. So we'll build everything from scratch, from the chassis, suspension, you know, the record bed to the custom boom, everything.
So you want to do like a heavy-duty frame on this thing?
Oh, absolutely, man. All 1-ton running gear.
Okay.
You know, big bags, adjustable so it sits low to the ground, and some big wheels on it too.
What size wheels?
24s, dual wheels in the back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be
nice stance,
cool, really low.
Yeah, man.
It's gonna be nice.
That's always a cool thing, man. Whenever you get to just set all your own parameters and just do whatever you want, I love that.
I mean, that's what he wants is just here, build me a cool truck. So damn right, we're gonna build him a cool truck.
Good deal.
Ready?
Well, when you put it like that, I don't know.
Oh man, inline 6. No bueno.
Yeah, we ain't having that. Well, we're gonna leave it all in there and just lift the cab, so we ain't even gonna take this out. Cool. We're gonna roll it out.
That sounds amazing.
But what's going in it,
what you guys
is gonna make this build? LT4.
Supercharged? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, that's gonna run.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So we just got a little bit of work to do. Just sometime, man. Let's get busy and build some cool stuff.
Let's do it.
This 52 Wrecker has just been essentially sitting on the side of the road in all the elements for some time now. So we got to tear off all the bad, which at this point is pretty much the most of it.
Getting the wrecker tore down, we're just gonna do it the same way that we do everything else around here. We're gonna leave the front end connected to the cab, take it up, and trash the rest of it. The challenges with this are getting all this rusted ass bolts off of here. I've been on here for like 70 years, so.
Tilt it back like this, it won't spill. I gotta cut the steering column and get these front core support bolts loose wherever I can find them.
Yeah, it's loose. We're good. Ooh, that fan right there, it's gonna catch still. No, we're good.
No, we're good. Everything's good.
Cool. That was too easy.
Well, we got an tow truck completely stripped, tore down to bare cab and front end, the chassis. We're going to totally construct the bed from scratch, from nothing. So I'm going to put up my string line so I can kind of establish where the ground is going to be, and we'll take all the measurements off of that. Go down it a little bit. Down, down, down. There's no really wheelbase established, so trying to find that right wheelbase and then build the bed to that wheelbase is going to be pretty critical on a job like this tow truck. Yeah, we might cut 2 inches off that fender. That way we can get it up a little bit more. So this, man, if we make a running board right here, that's going to be way off the ground. We can cut it and make it lower and look way, way better. We're going to lay out the main beam in 2x5, and we're going to come back to 2x4 over the axle. So it's going to be very rigid, very strong. I know he's not going to haul a car, but if he ever wanted to, the frame's there for it. You know, the foundation is set for whatever you want to do with this truck 50 years from now. Go up in the back. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty damn close. Back up towards the back of the truck. Yep. Something that looks proportioned bed that we're going to build. That looks good. To the stance it's going to have super low to the ground. You know, all that is super critical, having that right wheelbase. Okay, man, I think that's going to be, this is going to be wheelbase. So on this, we established, you know, the wheelbase that I want to go with. We got our basic frame shape, so we're going to go back to the table, lay it out on the table, cut some chipboard, get it cut. Old muscle cars like this 72 CUDA were just a lot more roomier than today's cars. You know, that's a whole lot of space for John to fill with that custom interior.
So we got the center monitor, placed where it needs to be. Now we're going to work on getting our console built underneath it and around it so we can tie into it. So I've got the sides of the console already cut out and ready to go. I'm going to curve them so we can get some shape to it. Once that's done, we'll start putting it all together, get it in the car, and keep working.
On the rear deck, using the kerf technique because that's the only way to bend MDF. You can bend other woods using a steam box and steaming it and makes it pliable, but MDF, you get it wet, it just crumbles apart. So kerf the back, leaves the tension, you can work it in, get it built. And all right, we got our console in place, everything's laid out nice, know where my monitor is going to go, so I'm going to get this set back up in place, get where it needs to be. And next step, just to box in around it, get it tied into the dash, work it down to the console. All right, everything's all dry. We'll pull this out, get over on the bench, and start body working. Right. Last fit. Perfect. Section of the dash is done, body work, and ready to go. I've got the pod made for the instrument cluster, so now I'm going to get it in place, get it mounted up, get it lined up nice and straight, and we'll start body working this to the dash. Okay. Keep standing.
Interior. We originally planned on keeping the rear seats, you know, but after talking with the customer, we decided to go with, you know, a little bit better audio setup.
So the next project we're going to work on the CUDA is the rear seat section. We're going to do a rear seat delete in this car and build something really cool back here. So I'm going to start out by making a template of the rear deck. Once I get that template made, obviously we're going to transfer that into some wood, make some pieces, start stacking stuff up, and see what we can come out with. There's the first piece of the puzzle. Got the base down, so basically this base is going to turn into a template
I'm gonna use that to make all the rest of the pieces for this rear deck. Come from the rear deck, forward, and then tie in all the way down, across the floor, all the way into the console. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do to help get my shape, give me some chipboard, get that glued in here, fiberglass over it. I'm just gonna take and pre-cut all my pieces, that way when I start with anything, I've already got it all cut out and ready to go, and I can just layer it up piece by piece. That's gonna be a fun one to do. So the rear deck, pretty much all built. All I need now, just the baffle and the trim rings so I can body work those in, get all that tied together. That way we can move on, start on the subwoofer enclosure, and the rest of the rear seat delete. Building all this stuff on the computer, drawing it out, letting all the machines make your parts. It's interesting and convenient, but I still like the feel of being in a car, making the pieces by hand, and actually bringing it together piece by piece. Knowing that you did that with your hands and it came out of your head is way more satisfying than cutting all those pieces and letting the computers do everything. So they might try to take our jobs, but ain't it? All right, everything's dry, ready to go. Let's take it out and start body working.
You know, I'm a suspension guy at heart. So on a ground-up build like this 52 record, it's job one to get this chassis right because everything else sits right on top. Well, we got our drawings all laid out. We know what the frame's going to look like in the end. So I'm going to lay it out on the table here, then use the chipboard to have a perfect pattern to transfer over onto the metal. There's no chance of mismeasuring anything. I mean, that's the most efficient way to transfer this drawing onto the table, over to the saw, and then back onto the table. There we go.
All right, so as you can see, we started off with our frame on the table. Got all of our little chipboard templates here. Transfer it to the metal, make it easier on ourselves. Just make a line, mark it out, whatever we got to do. Get them all cut the same exact way. Get them over here, clean them all up, and start building our frame. So when Bill was in high school, back in 36, his friend came up with this little trick.
What we're going to do is run this string to make sure, the frame is so long, has joints in it. We're going to see if it's perfectly straight. I mean, pull the string super tight, you got a perfectly straight line every time. So I'm going to run a string all the way down from end to end, and then we'll have washers in between it to lift the string off the tubing just that 1/8 of an inch. So then we know the frame is 100% straight.
I feel pretty good about this. This is really, it's tight, it ain't going nowhere. I can hit it around and it's not gonna move. I'm gonna once over it, make sure everything's, where I want it to be, and then we'll tack it, get it stood up, put some cross members in there, and take it over to the truck.
When we're building a custom chassis like the one that's on this 52 record, we tend to overdo it. I want it to last another 70 years.
And just like everything else in the custom world, this thing is way overkill. It's way over duty. You can pull a house with this thing, so.
We established the wheelbase, now we're gonna build a 2x5 frame.
All right, first things first now is fit up, tack it, throw a couple stitches on it, make sure it's good to move around. The cool thing about this one is going to be just that it's different than the rest of them. You know, we get a lot of the same stuff most of the time, a lot of C10s, and you know, that's the majority of the chassis that I get to build. So this will be kind of fun. I get to do a little bit different things on it, 4-link it and all that stuff. So that'll be a pretty cool build. All right, now that I got it stitched up, I'm gonna make our truss now. I'm gonna go grab some 2-inch pipe, clean it up. So ladies, this is actually like probably about 200 pounds, that pipe right there. And doing chassis work is always really cool because it's the first initial build. You know, you can do all your sheet metal work and all that stuff, and that's cool, but, you know, setting the foundation for anything is always like what the build is going to be. You know, you have something so beautiful underneath, you don't want to skimp out on that and waste your money or waste your time. You want to go all in and, you know, make it worth it. All right, we got this marked out where we want it. We'll let the bender do the work. Bend this at 45.
You know, I'm an instant gratification guy. But ground up builds like this record, well, they take patience, not to mention a lot of hard work. We started with this frame, and that's going to give us all the strength and rigidity that we need. You know, from there, we're going to go on and do custom suspension, and then a bed, and then on and on. You know, I'd like to see it done tomorrow more than anyone, but that's where the patience comes in. When this 72 CUDA came out, there was a lot of crazy colors that you could choose from. One of those colors was grape 8 purple, so John's heading out to find some purple accents for the interior.
Hey, what's going on, Greg?
Hey, how's it going? Good to see you again.
Yeah.
What you after? Every now and again, needing some wood for his cars. It's great to see our wood used in such beautiful projects.
We're doing his 72 CUDA, and the guy wants to pay homage to Mopar. And honestly, I can't do the grape ape that they do.
Sure.
So I'm thinking dark purple, and the Purple Heart being naturally purple is, I think it's going to be perfect.
Huh?
So
yeah.
I brought some templates and figured I'd come through and see what you had and try to match something up.
Okay, yeah, sure. We got some Purple Heart right back here.
Awesome.
Right in here.
Look at that. And it's naturally this color.
It's naturally this color. Real nice hardwood.
This first section of Purple Heart is their milled lumber, which is great, except for it doesn't fit my templates. So let's see what else he's got.
We got some boards that'll be right up your alley.
Man, look at that.
That's a nice one.
This Purple Heart is going to be our statement piece inside of this car. Everything else is black, but that purple is going to pop against that black and really stand out. Not to mention, it's going to tie back to that Hemi purple that the customer's looking for. That's going to be perfect. I mean, I don't need all of this, but I can always find a use for it.
Sure thing.
Not to mention, though, I get to make something else out of it, so pretty stoked about that. I like it.
Okay.
I'll take that one.
Now for the hard part.
I'm going to let you carry it out so I don't break anything in your shop. From where we started with the CUDA to now, I had to throw out a lot of the old plastic and start over. And I just finished making the last of the big pieces on the rear deck. All right, perfect fit. Now just everything else. Yeah, let's do it. It's all the little detailed things at the end that take a lot of time and patience. Like installing the carpet, which is a little bit more challenging on this one. I've got the floor all flattened out, foam smoothed, got the jute padding in it, it's looking great. So the next step, get the carpet in here, start laying it out, getting it cut in, heat formed and glued down. So then I'll be sanding down all of the pieces I made and wrapping everything in leather. And only then can I get to installing it one last time. The types of vehicles that come into the shop, they're from one end of the spectrum to the other. You know, from muscle cars to
vans, trucks, lifted trucks, mini car tells its own story. Every vehicle has its own voice. And once you get into that vehicle and start designing and working with it, it kind of talks to you and gives you those ideas that you can carry that into the inside of the car and complement the rest of the car with what you're building. Sometimes utilitarian, sometimes over the top, sometimes clean, classy. Really, it just depends on the style of the build that we're after. No two cars are the same. We don't build the same vehicle twice around here. Every one of them's different. So to be able to sit back, look at a car, get a feel for it, and know where we're headed with it, and adapt to that, and just bring that to life inside of the car really just hits home. That's the reason I wake up and come in here every day.
John's been working long and hard on that interior on the Cuda, and today's the day. Customers here, ready to show it to him. I know he's going to be excited to see it.
How you doing?
What's happening, man?
I hear you got something for me.
Man, I do, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I can't wait to see the interior of this old car.
Oh, John's been working hard back there.
Well, John's a magician, so... Exciting day for me. Got a call the other day from Bill. He said my car was ready, and I can't wait to see it.
Say, Johnny.
Oh, hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing, John?
Man, I tell you what, I've been working day and night. You got here just in time, though. Why don't you check it out? Over to that driver's door.
Oh. Damn. When you said you were going to wake it up, you woke it up.
Yes, sir. That was the plan.
Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this doesn't look anything like the old school one. Oh, I love it.
Awesome.
Love it. I don't even want to get a fingerprint on it anywhere. When I opened up that driver's door, holy cow. It looked nothing like it used to look. He did a fantastic job. He did exactly what I wanted him to do to it, and I couldn't be happier.
Started out by ripping the entire dash out and built that straight from the beginning. There was nothing there.
So you guys took the whole original dash and just tossed it away and built that all from scratch?
Yes, sir. Found a really cool dual screen setup that is an LCD display. So it's very modern looking. Your center screen is actually a touch screen. It controls your AC. It'll have your audio.
Can't even imagine what it's going to be like driving this thing.
It's going to be like driving a new car.
This looks nicer than most new cars, tell you the truth.
Center console, bringing that color down into the console all throughout the car. That Purple Heart wood, that was just a nice touch, and just, it wakes up that whole interior. It just completes the whole inside of the car.
From the dash, we moved into the center console. When you came in, you didn't have any place to actually rest your arm, so got that problem solved for you. Got room for a couple of drinks when you're out cruising around.
One thing they didn't do in 72 is drink holders. And the seats, what an upgrade.
Yeah, no, those came out of a BMW M4. Nice sporty seat. It's got high bolsters on it. You don't have to worry about sliding around in the car. They're going to keep you planted. So you go cornering, you won't go cornering.
Well, I appreciate that. Whoa. That back dash is clean.
So yeah, that rear deck is, that's fully sculpted from top to bottom. Basically made it modular, give it some depth, some feel, some life instead of just being flat and plain. Everything's got movement to it. There's nothing just sitting still back there, kind of like the car. The car, when you look at it, it looks moving. So we had to do the same thing inside the car and get everything flowing with the body lines of the car.
The rear deck lid is amazing. I love the fact that he got rid of that back. Tell me about these speakers.
Back in the 70s, it was all about wooden speaker enclosures, visible speakers, nothing covering them up. So kind of went with that feel, put that in there, got the exposed speaker, and it gives it that chrome look to help tie it in with the era of the car.
Well, I told Bill you were a magician, and you brought the magic.
Awesome, thank you. And, last but not least, the door panels.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of work went in there. We were able to take your factory door panel. That way we kept some of that stuff in place, and just added onto that, we got the speaker molded in to carry on from the back. Everything ties in together.
Well, if there's anything from the old door on this one, I can't tell.
You wanted to wake it up, right?
He
this demand get that for sure.
Yes, sir.
It still has that old school feel, but definitely modernized. Still a 72 CUDA, but it feels new.
I tell you what, the car's always been beautiful from the outside. Now it's beautiful on the inside.
Yeah, like my heart.
Overall, he did a fantastic job. There's nothing in this car that I'm not totally jazzed about. I mean, I can't wait to get it out on the road and drive it. Now the inside of that CUDA is prettier than the outside of that CUDA. And that's pretty hard to do with a CUDA.
You know, John, he was just blown away. You know, all that old plastic's gone.